Good afternoon, Youngstown. We are back with another episode of the Belly Left Leadership Podcast. Remember, the Belly Left Leadership Podcast is derived from a simple mantra, from a simple football play, but it's not about football. It's about life. It's about preparing, understanding the assignment, being a simple execution, everybody knowing what they're supposed to do, and then executing it at a high level, and then we keep running it until they stop it. So today's episode is a very, very special one for me because I have, and I joke, but it's not really a joke. I have one of my bosses on here. So, for those who don't know, the Board of Education of the Youngstown City School District and any school district is governed by a Board of Education. And part of their job is to hire and supervise the superintendent and in Ohio, the treasurer. And so I am happy to have our Board of Education president, Ms. Juanita Walker, with us today. So welcome, Ms. Walker.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So we're going to get into it, and we're going to talk, just having a conversation, talking about Youngstown, talking about leadership, talking about you. So tell us a bit about your background and your experience, and then what prepared you to be a Board of Education member.
So my name is Juanita Walker. I am a lifelong resident of Youngstown, Ohio, and I graduated from D-Ran. High school, Tiger, marching band, all that good stuff. So Northsider for life.
I got you.
So just a little bit about me for those who don't know me. Again, as I said, I lived here all my life. I graduated and I went on to college at Kent State University where I graduated with associates and a bachelor's in management. And so I have been doing leadership for a very long time. So I did that. I worked for Boy Scouts for a little bit.
I didn't know that. You never told me that before.
I was a paraprofessional. So yeah, I started troops in some of the schools. So what was it? North up there. So North Elementary when it was elementary.
Yeah.
I started an in-school scouting program, and I also did one in Harding. So those are some of the ones that I started in-school programs. So that's where I started my career as far as just with kids and the youth. And so, and then I have a son. He's 31 now, and so I coached basketball for the girls. I did softball. So I've just been doing a whole bunch of stuff. So, but management and leadership is just my core. So now I am in the housing industry. I work for a private company in management development. I started out property manager. And now I'm just a regional manager. Now I'm just doing compliance and making sure that everybody is in compliance with state and government things. And I also train and coach people as well. So
sounds like you were pretty prepared to be a Board of Education member. To me, with the experiences that you've had in management and leadership and working with people, and especially that compliance piece and the legal side of things. I know when I first met you, I was doing human capital and you were on our human capital committee. So, got to kind of know you from that standpoint. So talk to me about why the Board of Education.
Why the Board of Education? So when I was in high school, I always wanted to help people. So I wanted to do some kind of advocacy. So one of the things I wanted to do is I wanted to be a lawyer at one point. And so, and then I wanted to be a politician, and then I wanted to do social work. So anything that had to do with helping people and, making sure that they had the resources and tools that they needed. And so, I was going to go to school to be a poli-sci major, and my aunt was like, no, what you going to do with that? So she was like, just go ahead and do business. So I did business, and I went to DC, and they were about to come to blows on the floor. And I was just like, do I really want to do this if it's going to be like this? So I put that by the wayside. But it came, and it was just some things going on in our city, just, things that you hear. And I was just like, maybe it's time,
Okay.
because things that you want to do, you may put it back, but it always comes back to the forefront that this is what you're going to do. It always falls in line. It comes
Okay.
full circle.
Okay.
So, and that's where I became board of education. So, and I was like, okay, this is time. It's up, and had some really strong people around me who was just like, yeah, and we made it happen.
You want to shout out anybody?
Well,
or you don't want to get in trouble by mentioning anybody?
I'm not going to mention the one core person, but the one core person, she know who she is, and I just want to thank her for her guidance and how she prepared me for this. But I do want to shout out my sister and my mother because they are the forerunners in everything that I do. They're my cheerleaders, they're my coaches, and they help me to be able to be prepared when I'm speaking and answering questions.
Wonderful. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, sis.
Yes.
All right. So, from your perspective, what are the key qualities and skills you think are essential for a school board member to possess so that they can lead effectively?
In order to lead effectively, one thing you have to do is you have to actively listen. And when I say by actively listen, that means you have to listen to understand, listen to be open-minded, and listen to be flexible in your thinking.
Okay.
That's key because you have, our board has 7 people, so you're going to have 7 different perspectives and outlooks, and then you also have all your stakeholders and people that that's going to be giving you their input and ideas. So you have to take all that in
Right.
and able to make effective decisions. So you have to actively listen. You have to be, as I said, flexible, transparent, and just aware.
Okay. 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 All right. So you kind of mentioned it. You got a lot of people that have stake in our school district, and a lot of people have perspective and opinions, and everybody has their needs and desires. So how do you balance representing the interests of the school district and the community with making decisions that are in the best interest of the whole?
It's hard. You're going to have to compromise. And again, as I said, you have to really observe. You have to listen. You have to do your research. A lot of people think that when you're on a board, you don't do much. Okay. We just come to meetings, but it's a lot of work. We get a lot of information. And if you want to be really effective, you have to read, you have to research, you have to ask questions. And that's one of the things in order to make decisions. And it's not going to be effective it's not going to be, you're not going to make everybody happy.
Exactly.
Right. When you make those decisions. And again, sometimes you have to compromise. You're going to have to be like, okay, what's in the best interest of a whole? So you got to take everybody's opinion and try to make the best decision. And everybody's not going to be happy, but you're doing what you think is best based on what you've researched and everybody's input as well.
Okay. All right. So, this past January, you were elected, chosen as the board president. Talk to me a little bit about that role and, what you like about it, what maybe you're like, you didn't know about it and like, oh, this is different. How's that role been for you?
So this role, I will say it has not been that hard for me. I just want to thank my predecessor, which has been Tiffany Patterson. She took the brunt of a lot of what we had for 2 years that she was in that role. So I just thank her for letting me come into this presidency nice and easy. And then thanks to you and your staff and the rest of the board to where, my job has really been easy as far as that. But again, just to make sure that I'm effective, that our meetings are running effectively. And when I do communicate, that I communicate to the board effectively. I do research and make sure that, I am in compliance
right.
with things that I do.
Absolutely. Well, and I want to thank you for your leadership and, how you've stepped into the presidency and worked alongside myself, our staff, Mr. Schiraldi, our treasurer. One of the things that I'm most proud of in the last year and a half or so is the board relationship
Mhm.
between the superintendent, treasurer, and the board as a collective body
Yes.
working together. You said it earlier. We're not going to always agree on everything, and you guys may not always agree to 7 different perspectives. My job is to make sure that I keep the district moving forward academically, but also, make the changes that we need to make so that we can move forward. And sometimes those decisions aren't popular, but I also want to make sure I bring those things to you guys, and the ability to have open conversation and communicate with you guys has been, in my opinion, very smooth, and it's allowed us to really get our business done. And so I want to say this, and I've been wanting to say this for a long time. Other than back in the fall of last year when we had some contention thing going on, we haven't had a board meeting that lasts more than an hour and 15 minutes. I don't know if you know that or not, but I have been tracking it, and I'm not tracking it because we're rushing to get through anything. We're not. But we have 2 board meetings a month. Communication every day is ongoing. They probably get tired of me texting them and calling them and sending emails, but we try to communicate as much as we can. So then we handle our business on that first meeting of the month, do a lot of question and answer. And then when we get to that business meeting the second time, it's just us doing our business. And I'm really proud of how we can agree to disagree, but we get work done. And so I'm really proud of that from the board standpoint, and then also ours as administratively. So absolutely.
Yeah, I'm glad about that too as well, because previously it was a lot of stuff that never got done. That was never accomplished, and we're getting a lot of things done and accomplished. And it's a lot of information that's being put out there during those meetings, and also during our committee meetings and different things like that, to where we can do business and get things done and vote so we can move on to the next thing, because some things we got to put to the side and then we got to come back. So if we can get some things done, then we can go back to this thing. So
absolutely.
I'm really glad with our effective meetings.
So talk to me, what's been your most memorable experience working in the district, and particularly as a school board member?
Most memorable experience. I think all of them are. Just all of them. Just, just being around the people, getting to see some students that are my friends' kids or family members and stuff like that, the graduations, and just, seeing that. And I get to, hand them their diploma, shake their hands and stuff like that. So those are the memorable moments, is that I get to come back to the district that I graduated from, and be able to contribute to the lives of some of my friends' kids. My kids. Soon to be grandkids.
Okay. Hey. That's all right. That's all right. So, one of the things that we've been talking about this year that I've been kind of talking about is defending the why. I mean, listen, we don't ever hide from anything, and we know that we are making a lot of things happening. We're getting some good things done, but we still have a long way to go in terms of where we want to be, in terms of academics, in terms of culture and climate, the whole 9 yards. But in order to get there, we have to defend the great things that are happening in Youngstown. We have to. You guys have challenged us to tell our story, to tell the narrative about what is truly going on in Youngstown. So we kind of came up with the defend the why. When you hear that, what does that mean to you?
Just showing your pride. Just showing your pride, because I show it all the time. When I say the Rand,
absolutely,
I'm showing my pride for this district. And like I said, when I talk to people, I'm a product. I graduated from the Rand in '96, and I consider myself a success story. I graduated from high school. I was a teenage mom, and I graduated. And I went on to college, and I went on to get a bachelor's and a master's, and different certificates. And I am in a career that I love and that I enjoy, and I get to do different things. And there's so many people in our community that's still here, or maybe in neighboring cities like Warren and different places, who are success stories and products of this Youngstown City School District, of the public school education. And we need to showcase that and be proud of it, because we are an example of what can come out of Youngstown.
Thank you for sharing all of that, and I mean, sharing your story. And we always try to talk to our young people about what it is, where you come from. I mean, when I was appointed at East, I just saw there was just a lack of understanding of the greatness that had come before them. Not knowing that you have a world-class tenor who's an East graduate, Larry Brownlee. Not knowing you have people like Herman Jackson coaching at that school. Not knowing that you have people like John Turkle at Rand, and people like yourself, and just so many of my childhood friends and people that I grew up with that are products of the Youngstown City School District. There's so many great things that have happened here. So where you come from is from greatness. In this city is from greatness. And we've had our challenges. We know that. But we have to capture that again and make sure that our young people know that no matter what you're going through, somebody's gone through it before.
Yes.
And there's people have come through it and been successful like yourself and so many others. So absolutely. So this podcast is about leadership. And you've talked about some experiences that you've had, been in leadership for a long time. How do you define leadership as well?
Leadership. As I said before, leadership is not just saying that you a leader. I'm not just gonna say I'm a leader. You can't talk it. You just have to walk in it. You have to live in it. You have to be flexible, and being a leader is when someone else that sees you or follows you is productive in what they do. And that's to me what leadership is when someone sees you, when someone sees you speak, when someone sees you out or doing your work or about your business, and they want to be like you or come to you and talk to you to get ideas from you, and then they are productive in whatever they do. That's to me is what's being a leader. Not just saying I'm a leader, but the role that you play in someone else's life in order for them to be successful.
So it's not about the role or the title. It's about the goal and then what the outputs are.
Absolutely.
And so we talk about that all the time. Well, yes, I'm a superintendent, you're the board president, but we have guests on this show all the way from, like I said, your level to folks that are graduates, to teachers, to students, because from my perspective, we're all leaders and we all play a role in changing our organization and enhancing our organization and enhancing our city. We're not shy about the fact that we believe that so goes Youngstown City Schools, so goes Youngstown City, so goes Youngstown City, so goes Youngstown City School District. So I've had the mayor on, I've had some other folks on, and we're meeting with some different folks to try to make sure we're all rowing in the same direction. So really proud of that. Tell me, any last words that you want to share with the audience? Anything you want to share with the community about the future of the Youngstown City School District, your goals and desires as a board member, anything?
So I always say my mission, and anytime that I interview someone or anything like that, I ask them what is their mission, their personal mission. And my personal mission is just to make sure that every person that I come into contact with, that I speak to, that I mentor, that I coach, that they are productive and they are able to succeed and use the resources and tools that they have at their disposal, and that we need to be um, collaborative in our way of thinking and doing things. It takes all of us to ensure that each person is successful that comes out of this community. And that's what it was. And I want for us to go back to how we used to be when it says it takes a village. It really does take the village.
Absolutely.
It takes all of us, whether or not we agree with each other or anything like that, because we need to be collective in how we treat each other, how we do our business, because that's going to be the ultimate triumph once we see the people and the kids when they graduate and do everything, that what their success is going to be all of us, so we can all smile.
So I'm a little older than Miss Walker, but we come from the same era, I think, and was raised up in this city, around the same time. And that village, definitely. I mean, I tell the story all the time growing up kind of on Warren Avenue, and how the older folks looked after you, made sure you doing what you're supposed to do. We got to get back to that and make sure that everybody's looking out for everybody, and we're working collectively together. So thank you for that. Listen, folks, So many great things happening in the city of Youngstown, in the Youngstown City School District. We always say we own who we are, but we are telling our story. We're sitting here in the 5-star Chauffeur Career and Technical Center. You cannot get a better career and technical education than you can get right here. And then it adds on to your college preparatory preparation. And so we're really proud of what we offer here in the district, and we encourage you to continue to get behind us, hold us accountable when need be, but at the same time, support us as well so that we're supporting our young people in their future endeavors. So until next time, remember, belly left. Make sure that you understand the play. Make sure you understand your role. Make sure you practice your repetitions, and make sure you execute and support each other in a teamwork environment. And we keep running it until they stop it.
This podcast is the property of Showfit Broadcasting and Youngstown City Schools. Showfit audio and video broadcasting students recorded and produced this episode.